right, hello everybody. We are the Restoration Rangers, and we will be talking to you today about restoring degraded arid ecosystems. So first, we would like to begin by giving honor and thanks to the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations as the traditional inhabitants of the lands where McMaster stands. To say this is to acknowledge a debt to those who were here before us and to recognize our responsibility as guests to respect and honor the intimate relationship Indigenous peoples have to this land. We would like everybody to refer to the glossary we've provided in the discussion section of Avenue. This will allow you to look at terms you may not know throughout our presentation. Our presentation is going to consist of an introduction to arid ecosystems, why they are important, our 3 research questions, future contacts we'll be reaching out to, our plan of action, and our references. So we're going to begin with introduction and global significance. Arid regions are generally understood as areas where evaporation is greater than precipitation. Arid lands are a vital part of the Earth's human and physical environments and contain deserts, grasslands, agricultural lands, forests, and urban areas. Arid ecosystems exist on every continent except Antarctica and make up approximately 40% of the world's total land area and houses 35.5% of the global population. So land degradation affects ecosystems worldwide and is defined by a loss of soil quality, productivity, biodiversity, standards of living, or ecosystem services. So the most severe cases of land degradation are associated with arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid zones, as these areas are of particular vulnerability. Soil erosion negatively impacts local hydrology, ecology, decreases water quality, lowers effective levels of reservoir water, reduces crop productivity, and enables flooding and habitat destruction. There are significant consequences associated with arid land degradation or desertification. In places like the Colorado Plateau, degradation and unstable soils result in airborne dusts which deposit on the Rocky Mountain Plateau, snowpack. And this causes earlier snowmelt, which ultimately leads to 5% less water in the Colorado River, an already overexploited water resource. In Beijing, dust storms originating from degraded drylands harm air quality, visibility, and act as a vector for pollutants. And due to soil erosion, waterways such as the Yellow River in China have mass loading of sediment, causing major blockage of main channels. And these consequences are happening globally. These are just a few examples. Arid ecosystems play a critical role in the global carbon cycle and are among the ecosystems most sensitive to future climatic change. Restoration projects work to mitigate some of these consequences and can even help reduce effects of climate change by improving the system's ability to sequester carbon.
So our first research question is looking at the negative anthropogenic factors that contribute to degradation in arid ecosystems. And we have some sub-questions we're interested in. First, we want to understand how land use and land cover changes have caused desertification. We also want to investigate the consequences that population increase and economic development have on arid environments. Also, it's important to understand that there are going to be challenges that may arise with restoration. So we want to know if there might be any local community conflict that has affected restoration efforts, as well as any climate change. So that goes from anywhere from increased wildfire or to fewer or more intense rainfalls. So in northern China, where population increase and economic development are rapidly intensifying, natural environments like grasslands and forests are becoming converted into farmland and urban areas. So agriculture practices like growing crops or livestock overexploit limited resources like water and vegetation that promote the soil or that protect the soil from erosion. And urbanization strips the land of its natural vegetation and causes habitat fragmentation. So this is clearly a big concern. You can see this in the figure on the right, as forest and grasslands are seen decreasing in land cover, and then they're being replaced by farmland and construction. So because of this, northern China has seen over 13,000 square kilometers of grassland, forestland, and wetlands becoming subject to desertification between 1990 and 2010. But challenges with restoring these areas is that most of the land conversion occurred for economic purposes, and converting them back could have a negative impact on local communities. Also, resources are limited in these areas, and competition for resources between restoration and communities is a major concern, especially when trying to vegetate a degraded area that will use up a lot of water in the process.
Our second research question involves the specific solutions for restoring degraded arid ecosystems. And our third research question, which goes hand in hand with the second one, are what are the most effective methods and measurements to ensure the short and the long-term restoration of arid ecosystems? More specifically, how can we implement and measure these methods?
So our first solution involves the use of biocrusts. Biocrusts, which is short for biological soil crusts, are the surface layer of the soil. This layer is composed of interacting organisms including cyanobacteria, lichens, algae, and mosses. Biocrusts are small-scale ecosystems found in drylands, and they play a vital role in the improvement of soil functions and processes. In this short video, it will summarize some of the important functions of biocrusts in the ecosystem.
So what makes biocrusts so important in drylands, and what would it be like without them? First, biocrusts act as a glue to stabilize soil, safeguarding against dust storms that threaten human health and the plants and animals in our ecosystems. Second, biocrust organisms photosynthesize, which means they capture greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide into soil across the vast landscapes they inhabit. Third, biocrusts fix nitrogen, creating soil fertility and essential nutrients for plants and animals. Lastly, biocrusts act like a layer of sponges, retaining moisture in a place that highly depends on small amounts of rainwater and snow to sustain life.
Overall, biocrusts increase biodiversity and maintain ecosystem resilience. Although biocrusts hold a wealth of essential functions, using biocrusts for dryland restoration can be challenging when it comes to large-scale restoration efforts and successful implementation due to short shelf life storage. In the method section, Christian will talk about specific methods for better biocrust application.
Now, a method to improve large-scale success of the biocrusts is to implement pelletized cyanobacteria. The incorporation of strains of cyanobacteria, which are microorganisms, will be able to provide benefits to the proliferation and the extension of biocrusts. Specifically, it was found that the nitrogen-fixing Cytonema strain is highly effective in combating soil degradation from desertification and erosion. The pelletization of the cyanobacteria could facilitate the storage of inoculum measurements for long periods of time. Cytonema was efficient in distributing the material of the pellets and surrounded the area with cyanobacteria cover, according to a research study. A way we can measure the success of this method is to take the measurement of the soil contents after the inoculation treatment, and specifically observing for pigments of chlorophyll A. As a general rule, the more concentration observed of this pigment, the greater the success will be. Now, another method is the incorporation of moss biocrust cultivations. Mosses are one of the primary producers of biocrusts, and they play an important role in regulating structure and the function of dryland soils. A study conducted by Antonica and colleagues in 2016 used common species of mosses found in North America, and they were artificially cultured within a lab environment. The mosses were fully grown within 6 months' time. This method was very critical, as it helps to reduce the time frame in which naturally occurring mosses would take to fully develop. We are also looking into mosses which can tolerate high levels of sodium, such as members of the Poshaceae and the Bryaceae families. Introduction of these moss-dominated biocrusts can be through broadcasting measures, such as the use of drones, or through more direct drilling measurements. Geochemical data must be recorded as well to observe the nitrogen and carbon sequestration that these mosses provide. Furthermore, we must anticipate success by seeing an increase in the soil's ability to retain water and to improve hydrological functions of the soil.
Our second solution involves the use of vegetation. Vegetation is one of the most widely used solutions for dryland restoration. It enhances habitat wildlife, increases biodiversity, improves water infiltration, and reduces soil erosion. The establishment of native plant species also promote fruit and seed dispersing animals, which in turn allows for dispersal of seeds across the dryland areas. Due to spatial variability when it comes to vegetation implementation, it is important to identify which native plant species are better suited under specific site conditions.
Selecting the types of vegetation, we must select the species that will aid in our restoration efforts. We must identify the treatments that are effective at enhancing survival and can help to reestablish native perennial plants, which is often considered a first step in restoring a desert ecosystems. These plants have to be suitable for enduring harsh climate conditions, varying degrees of degradation. They must be able to access available resources, and they must have some sort of resilience against specific challenges such as high salinity. To ensure success, the plants must be picked based on their seedling survival, and we must observe their growth patterns, and we must find ways to translate that to rapid plant cover in degraded soils, and we must combine this with field data as well as drone imagery for more accurate results. Now, another method in order to enhance plant survival are finding ways to protect plants from herbivory measurements, which is animals eating plant material. We must also provide plants with supplemental water and find ways to promote soil health. For example, salvaging topsoil from areas to be distributed for later reapplications. The Havrilla Lab are looking into certain devices known as connectivity modifiers. They are small mesh above ground structures, which are designed to provide shade and provide structure for plants. They're also looking into pine mulch and spreading it at the soil surface to increase seed retention and soil moisture by decreasing the water loss via evaporation. And finally, they're also looking into digging pits within the soils to increase water capture as well as seed retention. Effective measurements can be using aerial drones to monitor land and observe vegetative cover. This can help to identify the best practices for restoration as well as rehabilitation of these ecosystems. There must also be a cost-effective measures, and we can incorporate image technology such as 3D imaging, which can lead to a capturing of more accurate data. Research contacts for our first question include Dr. Susan Dudley and Matthew Nikkinen. Susan Dudley has worked with plant ecology for many years and has a knowledge on invasive and non-native species. She will be a good source to ask about the challenges of vegetating an area with dry conditions and limited water resources. Matthew Nikkinen has worked on many restoration projects and may have some insight into community reaction to restoration efforts. We are also interested in asking him about the potential conflict with local communities during restoration.
Research contacts for question 2 are Dr. Sasha Reed and Daniel Perez. Dr. Sasha Reed's primary research include understanding how drought and increasing temperatures affect ecosystems and establishing new solutions for enhanced restoration. She would be able to assist our team in better understanding how BioCrest implementation could be successful as a method for dryland restoration. Daniel Perez's expertise are in the fields of biodiversity of arid zones and ecological restoration. His insights could contribute in identifying which native plant species could show the best growth based on specific sites.
For our research question 3, we'll be reaching out to Anita Antonica, whose current research involves investigating methods to restore biocrusts in disturbed ecosystems. Her insight will be useful in helping us better understand the most effective methods for cultivating and implementing biocrusts as a restoration method for degraded arid ecosystems. And Caroline Havrilla, whose expertise is within the realm of ecological studies, including plants, soil, and dryland ecosystems. She will be able to provide our studies with useful information regarding ecological restoration with vegetation and treatments to enhance plant survival.
In regards to moving forward after this presentation, the first thing we need to do is start researching or reaching out to our experts for information, as well as continuing to collaborate with other groups within this course. We're going to take all the critiques we get from our proposal presentation and then revise and refine our presentation and research questions. And then we're going to take all of this new information and then apply it to our final presentation and create a website that everyone can use to view our project. Then, taking any other feedback we get, we're going to write our final report. So we have calendars that we've made for each month for the project. We've put all of our meetings in there where we are going to be completing our tasks. Our presentation today is in there, and then moving forward, we have all of our deadlines, our final presentation on November 11th, and then following that, our final report on December 8th. This is going to go a long way in helping us stay on track with our project to make sure that we finish on time.
And finally, we have our references, which are sorted out into each section of our presentation, beginning with introduction, question 1, question 2, and question 3. And this is available for anyone who has further questions or would like more information on the topics we discussed today. So thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you took away some information about degraded arid ecosystems. I'm so sorry.